Hi all, welcome back to my channel and our kayaking adventures. After ordering and receiving snorkel gear, we wanted to find a lake to test out the equipment. We settled on Lake Nantahala, but first we wanted to go see Dry Falls. It was a little out of the way, but well worth the extra miles. Dry Falls is a 65-foot waterfall located in the Nantahala National Forest, northwest of Highlands, North Carolina. Dry Falls flows on the Kulisaja River. It is part of a series of waterfalls on an 8.7-mile stretch of the river. Dry Falls flows over an overhanging bluff that allows visitors to walk under the falls and remain relatively dry when the water flow is low. This feature is why they call it Dry Falls. Dry Falls is located on the side of U.S. Highway 64. After enjoying the sights of the waterfall, we got back on the road and headed to the Rocky Branch Boat Access, which is the public access to Lake Nantahala. The boat ramp is maintained by the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. Lake Nantahala is regulated and maintained by Duke Energy. The reservoir is a major source of hydroelectric power to the region. The public boat ramp access has 2 boat ramps, a large pier, restrooms, and a decent amount of parking for vehicles with trailers. There is a rental company nearby that rents boats and uses this access. Boat ramps were fairly busy when we arrived. I was a bit worried there might be too much traffic for us to safely practice snorkeling. However, once we got out in the water, that wasn't the case. It was a fairly cool morning. The temperature had dropped in this area after the remnants of Hurricane Sally had come through. I didn't have cell phone signal, so I was unsure what the actual temperature was. I do know that when we left the house that morning, it was 55 degrees. If I had to guess, I would say it was slightly above 60 degrees, maybe 62 degrees. We put in the water about 1:15 p.m. This was a little later than we normally paddle because we were hoping the weather would improve, especially since we plan on getting wet. We paddled around the shoreline looking for a great place to snorkel. The mountainous views are spectacular. We've been trying to find more lakes to explore in western North Carolina and introduce you all to. There are quite a number of creeks and streams that fill this lake. Lake Nantahala is known for its pristine conditions. The lake now covers what was once the old town of Aquani, a stagecoach stop between Asheville and Murphy, North Carolina. Before the European traders entered this area, the Cherokee had lived in the area exclusively for nearly 4,000 years. In 1838, when the Indians were being rounded up for the Trail of Tears removal to Oklahoma, they were detained at Camp Scott, which is now covered by the lake near the mouth of Wine Spring Creek. Before coming to this lake, I checked to see if there were any waterfalls. None were documented, and it was difficult to find any points of interest. We just decided to paddle and see where our kayaks would take us. We did find a stream that feeds into the lake. The ground was muddy, but the stream was enjoyable, a nice little hidden gem. After taking a little break, we decided to explore the lake a little more and find a nice area to snorkel. The water wasn't as clear as we had hoped for, but since we were just learning and practicing, this lake would do just fine. After a little scouting around, we found a nice little secluded cove. We dropped a dive flag in hopes that the boaters would give us some room, and I read somewhere that it was a requirement even if you're snorkeling. Beached our kayaks, donned our gear, and hit the water. The water was a bit cloudy, so there was little visibility to see what was underneath us, but it was a good place to practice breathing and swimming. I had not used a snorkel since I was like 14, and Miss Kayak 7 Seas had not used one ever. We do need to get some practice in before our next Key West adventure.
I might be out of shape.
The air was slightly cold, but the water was decently warm. I think we picked a good spot to practice. I considered Lake Jokisi, but the water there would have been much cooler. Plus, Lake Nantahala was a place we had not been to yet. After enjoying the water, we got back on our kayaks to explore as we headed back to the boat ramp. I think I'm going to have to implement a good exercise routine to get myself into shape and to remove some of this quarantine fat I've accumulated. If you have any good snorkeling tips, comment below. Thank you for coming along with us on this adventure. We are excited to see where our adventures take us now that we have added snorkeling to the mix. If you like this video, click that thumbs up. Join Team Kayak 7 Seas by subscribing to this channel. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Go back and watch some of our past videos. Hit that notification bell so you can get notified when our next video comes out. I hope to see you out on the water someday.